Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Tuesday night. We give you the coverage of going to be the Challenger Racing League, as tonight begins the season of first. It's the first season, first time at Homestead, and we are getting ourselves closer and closer to crowning the first champion of this season. But first, we got two more races in this current round that we're in. It's the round of 8 as we take our hand here to Florida at Homestead to see how Miami will treat these drivers this evening. We're excited to give you all the coverage again on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me in the booth is Trevor Earhart. And Trevor, we got a great picture of some of the new drivers that are entering the fray that are not in the championship hunt, but certainly could be threats on maybe changing up who could be some of our front runners with just 3 races left in the season.
Yeah, we saw it last week at Las Vegas with the great racing that they put on, and the finishing order. Sam, if I'm thinking back to it, I think 4 of the top 5 drivers were non-regulars and non-playoff drivers. So it can really kind of change up the amount of points available for these guys that are in the playoffs going into this race and next week at Martinsville to see who makes that championship 4.
Yeah, I mean, we had some heavy hitters with the newcomers of Nolan Potter, Harold Watkins, Ryan Bean, and ultimately the driver that won last week, Nate Campbell. We also had the likes of going to be Zach in the number 2 to watch out for, and Sheraton Thole, who's going to be the driver to really watch out and see how they're going to ebb and flow, because tonight's race could be a critical one. There's looking throughout the field one driver of note that's kind of missing, who had a bad run last week. That's Kevin Zabladil. Not looking like he's going to be having the performance he was hoping for last week. Comes out as the lowest in the point standings. He does not look to be a show here tonight. If he does show up, it's going to be during this period, because we just finished up practice. We're entering qualifying, where they're going to have 5 minutes to put down their fastest lap and only 2 laps to do so. You hit the wall, hit the grass, your lap is invalidated. So every driver knows it's going to be critical to get up front. But a little bit back to what we've seen for most of the season, Trevor, back to our 15 to 17 drivers out on track compared to what we saw last week, tied with our most drivers on the field of over 20 drivers showing up. So smaller field, not as many points out there on the line. It's going to be the cutoff battle a little bit more closer, because we got John Velocity as well as James Catrone tied for that 4th place position.
It's going to be a fun battle to watch to see who's going to be those championship 4 drivers when we get to Phoenix, Sam. And it's all going to be here tonight. I think it's going to be the huge catalyst to kind of solidify your shot at being in that championship 4 with the race here tonight at Homestead. Martinsville is going to be kind of a handful and a wild card race with the short track, but tonight's a really good opportunity to go out, get yourself some good stage points and a good finish.
And speaking about the stage, it's very different here tonight. 1.5 mile racetracks. We've seen the stage be around lap 40 to 45. We're extending it to lap 55 will be the stage break, meaning that, again, like we've seen throughout this season, there will be a caution during the stage. But Trevor, it's going to be very close to when the drivers would usually make their second stop of the evening coming to the end of that stage. So we might see tires taken early here in this race.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it, over the course of the season with their stage break being in the 40s, that pit stop that they have to make before the stage. It's kind of a, do you take tires? Do you take 2 tires? Do you not? Tonight, with it being so late in the race, there's a good chance that we see drivers take 4 tires, Sam, and there's only a limited set. I think only 3 sets for these guys tonight, so going to be really interesting to see how they use those to their advantage. And I see a late entry there. Sam, Kevin Zabladil looks like he made it in. I don't know if he'll get a qualifying time, but at least see that he is registered for the race here.
Yeah, he's registered in. He might be able to get just about a lap, maybe a second, if he gets on track very soon. Top of the board, though, newcomer didn't have the strongest run. That's going to be Zach in the number 2 machine. Strathen Thurl, who's going to be that driver to watch out for. But Matt Hayden, who comes away 3rd in points after last week's race at Las Vegas. He now enters the top of the board, but a few more drivers still waiting a little bit under half of the field, still needing to put qualifying times in. One driver missing out on their first lap. That's going to be Gregory Barbernier in the 40 machine. He's got to hope that the second lap counts and that it's a valid quick lap if he wants a solid run for himself overall. But here's going to be some of the drivers that have note as into the wall is going to be the 75. Michael Martino struggling, continues. here for qualifying as he'll throw away that lap. But here's a driver that shows up late for practice, but has looked strong once we get to race time. Justin Malarkey, Trevor, I mean, it's been fun to watch how Malarkey's always been just under the radar, but always inside of the top at least 5, sometimes even the top 6.
Yeah, Malarkey's done a really good job this season. He kind of struggles on the long run. We've seen that a couple of times from him this season, but done a really good job short to middle of the run, being up there contending for the top 5. Sam, and if he can just get that long run pace together, I think he'd have a really good shot at contending for some of these wins.
Cannot wait to see how some of these drivers can ebb and flow through as Justin Malarkey coming across the line for his first lap for the 73 machine. Looking to be 33.520, good enough for 14th. Needs a little bit of a pickup though, as he's over a half a second behind our pole setter of Matt Hayden currently, as Zach in the number 2 currently second. The driver that came away though first in points, had a very strong run, and honestly, if the newcomers didn't show up, could have won last week at Las Vegas. Christian Strader, Trevor, still searching for that first win, has got the most poles of anyone throughout this season, but the 29 here tonight gets another chance for a victory, but it's looking like it's going to be difficult to get a win here tonight with all the drivers that have shown up so far.
Yeah, it was kind of a question for Strader when he was finally going to get that monkey off his back, and I think last week at Vegas was the perfect chance for him to do so, but you have this injection of the new drivers that kind of took that opportunity away from him. But I think for Strader to get this championship, it's the consistency that he's shown throughout the season. I think that's going to get him this championship, Sam, in the first season. We'll see tonight if he can, one, get that first win or just be consistent as he has been.
Well, looks like some drivers going to be opting out from qualifying, as Matt Hayden going to find himself with the pole award to start here tonight. Matt Hayden going to be joining the mixture of so many quick drivers that have gotten a pole this season. Christian Strader had 4 poles so far. Kevin Zabladil with 4 poles. John Velocity grabbed his first pole back at Watkins Glen, with Rusty Modesty having 1, and James Catrone. And now, brand new name to the Pole Sitter Award winners. It's Matt Hayden in the 5 machine, who also has looked just similar to, I would say, to a Justin Malarkey, finding himself with good, consistent runs in the long run late is where we've seen the 5 be strong. But these drivers know it's about to be race time for the Challenger Racing League playoff round of 8, race number 2 of 3. It's about to be crunch time, and here's going to be your starting positions. After qualifying finishes up, it's going to be the 5 machine to Matt Hayden, top of the board. Second place in the 2 machine, we're going to be seeing that Zach machine, with Christian Strader in the 29 going to be in 3rd in that 2nd row. Harold Watkins, who also had a very strong run last week for the 3 machine in his debut race here in the Challenger Racing League. He was going to be a favorite to watch out for. Great qualifying run. Going to be in 5th position, the 68 of Andrew Little. James Catrone showed up late for the 38, looking just as quick. He'll be in 6th position, with Justin Malarkey 7th, Hunter Carlson 8th, 9th goes to Steve Potter, and finishing out our top 10, it's the 6th machine of Rusty Modesty.
John Velocity will roll off in 11th with Nolan Potter to his outside in 12th. Jesse Nolan will start in 13th with Michael Martino in 14th. Gregory Barbernier, the last driver to put down on time, will start in 15th. And then based on their I rating, it's going to be Nate Campbell in the 45, rolling off 16th, with Ryan Bean in 17th. Kevin Zabladil will start in 18th, with James Fitzmaurice in 19th. And Steven Rochek will round out the 20 drivers here tonight.
20 drivers entering here this evening, as we will have 133 laps in total. That stage break, like I said, bounced out a little bit further than what we've seen in past races this season. It's going to be at lap 55 when our stage yellow will be thrown, unless there is a caution between lap 50 and 55 that will also count as our stage ending. All drivers will have 1 fast repair tonight, with 3 extra sets of tires in pit road, as well as their set they start here this evening, so 4 in total. Their fuel range going to be 50% fuel load, which, based off what we've seen from the mile and a half, Trevor, it looks to be around 29 to 32. If you could really stretch out the fuel to its maximum potential, but you're also losing a lot of time. And curious on if this first stage, will drivers take tires? I think I can already circle up one driver who will, but how many other drivers will join the likes of Andrew Little on taking maybe 2 tires or a full set under this stage?
Yeah, it's going to be the interesting part. It's going to be that tire strategy before we get to that stage break at lap 55, because if you use the set in the run and you use the set at the stage, it's 2 sets. It leaves you with 1 set to go for the rest of this race, which I don't think is going to be enough, but we know Little will probably take 2 tires, so we'll see who else elects to join him here tonight, Sam.
As up front, Matt Hayden, Zach Schreithenthal going to be the 2 drivers up front, ready to take us to the green. 8 drivers have entered into this round. They had their first race of the round last week at Las Vegas. It's Christian Strader, your points leader, with it's going to be Christian Strader is your points leader, with Andrew Little second, Matt Hayden third, tied with fourth is James Gatrone, John Velocity, Hunter Carlson is sixth and point, seventh is Gregory Barmanier, and Kevin Zabladil has the biggest hole. He's going to need major stage points and a win in the 70, wants to set himself up to have a better run heading into next week at Martinsville. Rest of the field, non-playoff drivers, all their goal, play a little bit of spoiler and head into victory lane. We'll see what the newcomers have for us, or will it be the regulars, as we are green at Homestead. It's Schreithenthal, Hayden, front row, trying to take off and go, but it's going to be Strader with a big push to the 5 machine, almost thinking about going 3 wide for a quick moment, but it's the inside row who gets the better launch out of 2.
Hayden with a great launch, gets up to the high line to block Schreithenthal in the 2 machine on the exit of turn number 2, and already seeing everybody fanning out, taking their preferred line, top, middle, bottom. Cars all over the racetrack, just showing the different grooves that Miami's got, and Schreithenthal going for the lead, Sam. A little bit of contact as they exit turn number 4 to see who's going to lead this first lap.
And this was the thing that we talked about with the newcomers. They are all so fast, and we saw 4 of the 5 have a strong run last week at Las Vegas. It was Schreithenthal that was the 5th driver that had their debut race last week, who really struggled in the middle of the field. Great qualifying run for the 2 machine, but he was not running with a lot of the playoff contenders throughout Las Vegas. I'm curious on the mindset some of the drivers will have, because it's Matt Hayden up front, Strader trying to make the outside row work, but everyone else looking to play a little bit of spoiler, and it looks like it's the playoff drivers that want to run that outside row up to the wall.
Yeah, trying to run that outside row or outside lane, get that momentum, get those passes done to move up in the race. And you know, we were talking to some of those guys last week, like Nate Campbell, the newcomers. You know, they mentioned they're going to race hard, but they're going to race these playoff guys clean, and as to not get involved in this playoff or this championship battle, Sam. So look for Zach and those guys to kind of be easy in the first handful of laps, but I expect them to be strong and up front pretty much all night long.
Be easy, be calm. Well, they're not doing that. Just outside of the top 10, Justin Malarkey as well, with Nate Campbell, Ryan Bean, and a few others were just 4 wide on the backstretch, able to sort things through 3 and 4, but these drivers further on back that did not qualify well are already making their march forward, though that being the 34 of Nolan Potter, as well as the likes of Ryan Bean, Nate Campbell. They're making the surge now. They know they have to get up front quickly.
Just trying to move up as quickly as they can, and they did this last week at Las Vegas too. Didn't set a qualifying time, started in the back, and I think by like lap 10 or so they were up at the front. As you see the 25 get up into the outside wall there just a little bit. Ryan Bean kind of testing the limits of what the car can do in the first couple of laps, but getting by the 84 there of Velocity pretty easily, and that'll move him up to 10th.
Their fastest lap put down, and that's the effect of this next-gen vehicle. And Trevor, the next-gen is such a unique vehicle on the fact that it felt like with the Xfinity, the old Cup car, the trucks, your usually fastest laps are in the first 3 laps, and then your tires are just toasted. This next-gen is much later in runs, so you could put down those fastest laps.
Yeah, it takes probably a good 4 to 5 laps for the tires to hit their optimal temperatures. You see the 6 there of I believe that's Modesty, that was all the way down on the apron in turn number, or on the front stretch. Might have a little bit of an issue out of turn number 4, but for this next gen car, Sam, it takes 5 to 6 laps for the tires to hit that optimal operating window of temperature. I think it really lay down some really quick laps. So as this race progresses till we hit about lap 12, I wouldn't be surprised if we see fastest laps keep getting clicked off.
Tonight's themed as the month has been. We've seen John Velocity run the pink, but seen more drivers running pink. This is the last October race, as October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and pink ribbons are the traditional signs of support for breast cancer awareness, or just having pink on your vehicle or on yourself. And seeing a few more pink machines out there. Also, this is the last race before Halloween, so a couple of drivers bringing out their favorite Halloween schemes. One of those being Christian Strader, our leader at the moment, bringing out the Halloween Reese's machine, and as well seeing the 3 machine of Watkins bringing out the Batman throwback costume. And it's fun to see drivers when it's close to holidays and who's willing to bring out special schemes for that.
Yeah, Halloween, and then it's like special, months like breast cancer awareness, and the holidays. Like you said, it's always fun to see the iRacing community come out with the cool paint schemes to kind of celebrate each and everything, Sam. And it's always fun for us up in the booth to get to see these paint schemes out on track as well.
It certainly is. I think now we're going to be hopping on a board with Nolan Potter in the 34 machine. He just had a close call with Hunter Carlson through the exit of turn 2, and see drivers, they're recognizing the fact that you have to go for slide job moves, but right there, a little bit of a delayed entry point for Carlson, where Potter was trying to just throw it down the inside, go for a slide job pass. Not going to be the case. He'll stay side by side off of 2 once again. But this track already showing signs. It's going to be tough to make passes as the run goes on, as Potter throws it down once again. One of our biggest movers, up 7 positions from where he started with this pass on Carlson. But other drivers are moving forward. Ryan Bean in this 25, Andrew Little. I mean, it's the newcomers versus the regular playoff drivers that we're seeing these battles going back and forth.
Yeah, drivers trying to work their way forward. Playoff drivers trying to hold on to the stage points. And, it's making for great racing. Same as Carlson trying to come back at Potter. You can see right here behind them, Little trying to hold off Ryan Bean in the 25, and just great side-by-side racing here early on.
Great side-by-side racing, and as we were on this hook cam, you saw the big wiggle at turn 2. Every corner seems to get trickier and trickier. That was one thing about this track that we were curious about, was how was the vehicle to looseness scale going to change throughout a run, and how this vehicle, is it going to get tighter as the run goes on, or is it just going to get looser and looser off the exit of the corner?
I have a feeling if it's anything like what we saw last week at Vegas, I think the car is going to get a little bit looser as the tires wear out. We'll have to wait and see how that's if that's what's gonna play out. I think if you're running the top line early, you might put a little bit too much heat in the tires and start to get loose off. We might see those guys fade back a little bit, Sam, as we've seen the 2 start to fade off a little bit. Looks like Matt, maybe under some pressure, as the guys on that low line are starting to make real progress.
Tried to fall in the 2 machine, like I said, starting to fall off on you can say on our leaderboard, as he's fallen out of 4th, but still in the mix as our 2nd all the way back to 6th place, also within a second of one another. It's Christian Stratter that's really pulled away from the rest of the field, but Watkins has finally gotten clear. But here's Potter ripping the top, giving a little bit of shade of what we saw from real life NASCAR this past Sunday, with the fact of Tyler Reddick just ripping the wall and willing to use every little bit of the track. And Potter takes advantage of that outside through 3 and 4, and that's what we're going to see a lot of here tonight, is who trusts their vehicle the most to get close to that outside wall but not completely slam it in there.
Yeah, get close to the outside wall, and do you have the commitment to stay in the throttle on exit and hope that it doesn't break loose so you can get that run like we saw Potter get on Hayden there down the front straightaway, and see if he can do it again here to the 2 machine of Strengthenthal out of 2. You see Strengthenthal get a little bit loose there, Sam, and Potter continuing to close that gap. We'll see if he dives it down to the inside here in turn number 1.
Dives it down low, gonna go first line job move if possible. Not able to fully clear just yet, as Strengthenthal's gonna get his foot in the throttle and keep it almost to the quarter panel as they exit out of turn number 2. The 2 gets the better run, and behind them also getting to see Ryan Bean slowly making his march forward with his winner from last week of Nate Campbell. Great show we got to see at the end of last week at Las Vegas. It was just the dueling back and forth for those final 20 laps. And it looks like we are setting up for another great duel as the front runners continue to stay close. But with all this great battling from 2nd back to 7, it's allowed Stratter to build that lead back up to over a 2nd. And I thought for a second Stratter was going to get caught, Trevor, but it looks like this grouping, all this hard racing, is starting to backfire.
Yeah, that clean air that Stratter's got just allows him to kind of run his own line, run his pace, pull away from these guys, as he's now got about almost a 1.5 second gap back to Harold Watkins there. And with these guys battling as hard as you can, I think that's exactly what Christian wants to see here in these opening laps.
15 laps to go here this evening. We're about halfway through this stint before we're expecting our first pit stops of the day if we stay green. Our stage here this evening is going to be at the end of lap 55. All drivers have one fast repair to work with here tonight, and currently we've been watching the majority of the battles up front, because this is kind of the hot heavy battle of some of the newcomers with the playoff contenders. Stratter, our top runner and top in points entering tonight, but behind him it's been seen Matt Hayden, our pole sitter, kind of floundering at this moment, but similar to what he's done in the past, take it easy in the first 10 to 12 laps, sometimes even the first 20 laps before he really takes off and shows the strength of those tires in the later run.
Yeah, it's kind of been his thing all season long. Let the guys go, and then as the tires wear out, he'll move back forward. We'll see if that's going to be the case here tonight, Sam, as he's gone from the lead all the way back to, I believe, about 5th position and under pressure now from the 45 of Campbell. But we'll see if that 5 machine can work his way back up. But I think for the 5 of Hayden, I think you're just hoping for some solid stage points here, Sam. You want to keep that nose clean, get through that first pit stop cycle in, and see where you end up for the stage break.
I'm curious if maybe we get a ride along or get a cockpit view of either Hunter Carlson or Matt Hayden and get a sense of what it's like for these drivers as Campbell gets snapping loose off the exit of turn 2, goes down on the apron, and Hayden's able to drop down low. Carlson will follow in suit to the inside, but I'm curious on the mindset of the driver that's following another when you're entering these corners. I mean, Trevor, it looks like it is tough to react at moments on how to get by. We'll stay on board with Hayden here in turn 1, but what is it like trying to figure out the entry of these corners with everyone on top of one another?
It can be a handful. You see it right there. Hayden got up into the wall trying to follow the 2 machine, just got a little bit tight on him as he was in the dirty air, gets into the wall, gives up a spot. But then you got to contest with if you're real close to somebody. If they get loose, do you have time to react to it? If there's somebody on your bumper, cars spread out all over the place. But right now, Hayden kind of the lone ranger up here on that top line.
Using the outside lane, and Campbell able to utilize a good push going forward, even with the little bit of a slip up. Also seeing Andrew Little. That's another driver that backed off, willing to give up some space. And we know once Andrew Little starts to move forward, that's when we know this grouping is getting closer and closer to pit stops. That 68 is always so clutch when it comes to the end, as Zach Schreifenthal having a big loose moment for the 2 machine off of turn 2. As like I was talking about earlier, we're starting to build into different packs. This front group we've been keeping our eye on, but drivers from 11th on back, there's a small pod of drivers there that's being led by John Velocity, Kevin Zabladil, and they're hitting pit road. Is into pit road. It's a 17 to Zabladil.
And again, Kevin, just with these oddball pit strategies, 21 laps into the run, and I don't know with the fuel, Sam, if he's going to be able to make it to the stage break.
I don't know if he knows what the stage is. He showed up during qualifying. I think he might have gotten the number wrong on the stage because the stage is at lap 55 on the schedule. Unless he got a different report than us, Kevin Zabladil should not have enough time or laps to make it to the end of the stage unless there is a caution right at that window of lap 50.
Yeah, he's just got this thing of making bizarre pit strategies, and again, just another one here tonight. He did it last week at Vegas. Pitted early and then, was never able to really recover from it. And I think tonight's going to be kind of the same situation.
Yeah, he pitted early, then a caution came out. We got a sense that the caution was coming out just because of the handling going away for a lot of vehicles before the fuel was going to stretch out to its fullest. And instead, Zabladil, first driver to pit on lap 21. And this is the battling happening for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's Potter, Campbell, Hayden, all on top of one another, with Bean leading ahead. This is dropping further on back to Steve Potter, as well as seeing Gregory Barbier having their duel for 6th and 17th position. And Gregory Barbier, I mean, he's had his Cinderella story of somehow sneaking his way into the playoffs, then sneaking his way through the first round into the Elite 8. And the 40 machine gonna need a miracle to make it into the Final 4 here in 2 weeks, but seeing Steve Potter, they're all just running up high, waiting for their time to be called to go into pit road.
And just kind of running their own race right now, back there in 17th with Gregory Barbier, holding on to see what can happen, maybe get a lucky break here at the stage. And back up front, Sam, they're still racing hard with one another, back up there with Nolan Potter, Nate Campbell, Matt Hayden. This is all for about 4th on back to 7th there. You see Andrew Little kind of in the back of that shot trying to close in, but these guys still on top of one another.
And 34 of Potter does graze the wall through 3 and 4, kind of straightens it out for the straightaway, so still able to keep the momentum, stay fighting with Campbell. But Potter, I'm curious on this 34, getting one of our more aggressive drivers to work their way through the field. When those tires are going to be going away, it's going to be very quickly. And I'm also curious on when do you decide to pit, because we know these drivers are most likely going to try to stretch it out as far as they can go. It's going to be around lap 29 to 30, and into pit road is going to be Ryan Bean, our first of our front row group, as The 25 into pit road also going to be Andrew Little. Little going to be giving us a sign. Does he take tires once again during this stage? Again, Andrew Little, second in points entering tonight. Just 3 points behind Stratter, but a good solid 10 points ahead from the cut line. So stage bonus points can really assist you just by having a bad day here today. Those bonus points can save your day.
Yeah, they really could. And it looks like left side tires?
Left sides.
That's an interesting call, Sam. I wonder if that's a miscommunication with the pit crew. I say pit crew, in iRacing, you have your black boxes, you can uncheck the tires. I wonder if that was just a misclick, didn't get both sets unclicked. In left side tires only, typically you see rights, but interesting call here from the 68.
I mean, we've seen Andrew Little take 2 tires so many times, and looks like maybe not a strategy to go for the stage points, but a strategy to get track position. Maybe we'll take the left sides once we get our stage break, but a bizarre moment to see. Andrew Little will be out there with just left side tires taken, as going to be seeing one of our front runners also going to be Harold Watkins into pit road to get service done. And I'm going to have to relook and see the pit road for also Campbell and Ryan Bean to see if they took tires for themselves, but I believe that Andrew Little was the only one to do so of everyone in the field currently, as Stratter still looks strong, 4 seconds ahead of Nolan Potter and Matt Hayden. That is a huge gap to work with for this 29, who's got the whole world really to think about. When do I feel like pitting? Will it be the last of opportunity to head into pit road?
Yeah, I mean, Stratter can basically just do whatever he pleases with this gap that he's got. Was able to stay in that clean air and pull away from everybody as they were battling it out, and now can kind of just decide what he wants to do. If he wants to stay out late with everybody essentially just taking fuel only, Sam, he's kind of just got this, if nothing crazy happens, I think he's kind of got this stage in the bag.
I would say so. I mean, he's looked very strong so far. Can confirm for Watkins as well as Ryan Bean and for Nate Campbell. No tires were taken, fuel only. And I have to confirm on Matt Hayden, because Hayden had a little bit of a later pit stop than others. If he took tires or not, the 5 machine would be a gamble. No, it's just a long pit stop of being in pit road for topping up on maximum fuel for the 5 machine. Which that's also another thing which is interesting. If you do push your fuel all the way to the end and head to pit on lap 30, technically you don't have to take the full fuel amount to make it to the end of the stage.
It's a good point, Sam. You can kind of short pit it. Don't have to take as much fuel as to Velasquez leave pit road. I believe that's the 28 also off pit road, as here comes Stratter down pit road along with, I can't tell who that is behind him, but yeah, I mean, you can take less fuel and not have to be on pit road as long as these guys who pitted, 5 or 6 laps before you.
I believe that was Nolan Potter that came in. Quite aggressive pit stop for the 34 as he was sliding on his way across the pit entry. As more drivers making the call. Pit road is calling. Hunter Carlson going to be slowing down for the 32 machine as he makes his pit entry. And luckily for all drivers, if you make a mistake on pit entry, we've seen this in the past earlier in the season. The first half of this season was just riddled with pit road speeding penalties, and it was something that ruined a lot of great drivers' days from getting into victory lane. But if you are going to find yourself with having a pit trouble, this would be the pit stop to have, because we have that stage break that can allow you to get back onto the lead lap very quickly.
Yeah, this would be the time to do it. You'd rather get it done early, have that stage caution to either get you back on the lead lap or get you caught back up to the tail end of the field, as opposed to having it later in the race where it could really ruin your race. And another spot you got to be careful. You see it right there with Catrone and Modesty. Those pit road barrels, Sam, I've seen those under green flag conditions take out a couple of cars. I think we saw it with Kyle Larson in earlier, I think this year, was it last year?
I think it was last year.
NASCAR, get into those pit barrels under green flag conditions. So we've seen how aggressive they're willing to be. Got to be careful, though, at the same time.
Oh, those barrels are dangerous, and it would be a race ender for some. You might have a fast repair, but if you hit those barrels, you're most likely going to get stuck, have to take a tow, going to go multiple laps down. There'll be a whole ordeal that can just ruin your day. As Michael Martino will be the last driver to pit. He's only back in 15th position, about to be 1 lap down. But your leader currently going to be the Batman machine of Harold Watkins, as the 3 just continues to have his own world up front. Trevor, it's just the race to the end of the stage, the end of lap 55. And no one else really looking close. Andrew Little, again, the only driver that I've looked through to take 2 tires. Curious on how well he's going to run, but further on back, one driver did take a whole set. That will be Steve Potter. The only good thing about this, Steve Potter's over 23 seconds behind our leader.
Yeah, I don't think those 4 tires are going to really help Potter catch the race leaders. But I could help him pick up a couple of spots for Andrew Little. Looking at his lap times, I mean, he's about on pace with Harold Watkins, about 2 tenths quicker than Ryan Bean and Christian Stratter ahead of him, as you can see him trying to track down Ryan Bean in the 5. So, I mean, a little bit, I guess, of good news with those left sides. That hasn't completely ruined the handling of that race car. Be interested to know what it feels like taking lefts over rights for him, but looking pretty good, Sam, as he makes his pass for 3rd.
Looking very good at this current time. Ryan Bean just right now going to relinquish that position. 25 machine will settle into 4th place. Little continues to rip the top. Only thing for Andrew Little, currently 3.7 seconds back, but Ryan Bean, trouble for the 25. Required damage, has to go to pit road, and it looks like he got into the outside wall, and just a bad bump hitting the front right wheel well, broke the front right, had to come to pit road for a fast repair. Looks like trying to stay at least on the lead lap, but it's going to be tough for the 25 as the leaders are catching him quickly.
That's an unfortunate break there for Ryan. And that's all it takes in this car. I mean, we talk about it being a tank most times, Sam, but there's times where just a little touch can, you know, really mess up the toe links on these things. And for Ryan, just got up into the wall a little bit too hard, bent that right rear or right front toe link, and had to use this fast repair.
Yeah, I went back and rewatched it. That's actually what enabled Andrew Little to catch up to Ryan Bean so quickly. He broke that front wheel well just as he was passing pit entry and had to do a full lap with that broken right front. So impressive by Ryan Bean that he did not cause an incident. So he had to make that emergency pit stop. He'll be back in 17th place and the only driver so far to use a fast repair. We're closing in on just 10 more laps in the stage here quickly, as it is all Harold Watkins, 2.2 seconds ahead over Christian Stratter. And once again, Trevor, it's the what-if show for Stratter here early on. Those stage bonus points could be critical if any issues pop up next week at Martinsville.
Yeah, for Stratter, I mean, 2nd place in the stage, still pretty good. It's 9 stage points, but I'm sure he'd rather have the whole 10. But I got to give credit to Harold there in the 3 machine, Sam. I mean, you think about it, Stratter had about a 4-second lead when he came to pit road, and Watkins has been able to flip that to a 2-second gap for himself. So a really good pit entry and exit for the 3 machine that's allowed him to kind of get out there and then pull away from the 29.
Yeah, and Stratter did make some mistakes on pit road. It looked like he's also, I went back and watched, slid through his box, had a mistake there. That hurt him badly on the loss of time, and lose time on pit road, it can balloon out once you get full speed out on track. Looking at some of the other close battles that are happening during this stage, and they are critical points battling back for 10th and 11th place. It's Kevin Zabladil, who again pitted extremely early compared to everyone else. This 17 cannot make it to the end of this stage, and John Velocity in 11th. Velocity is trying his best to catch up and get by the 17, and then also needs to run down and catch up to James Catrone, because Velocity and Catrone, they enter tonight tied in points for that 4th place spot.
Yeah, Velocity. I wonder if he knows that Kevin's got to probably make another pit stop here before this stage break. We'll see. He's gone 19 to get 20 laps for Kevin on this run. I don't think he can make it another 15 laps, Sam, essentially, that he's going to go.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he knows, but the other issue for the last is Justin Malarkey right there behind him on his rear bumper. So I think he needs to get out of this dirty air. The 17 is Abladil, who gets loose and up into the outside wall. And here we go, 3 wide as Velocity actually had to back out of it and gives that spot up to Modesty.
Velocity just did not have the confidence to know where the 17 was going to be placed, so instead slams the wall. Malarkey instead goes a little bit too fast into turn number 3. He is just ripping the wall and looking like a little bit of visual netcode for us of it looking like he was just slamming the wall, but he was just grazing it, keeping momentum. And seeing drivers now trying to get by lap traffic. John Velocity wants to run the top, but that's where everyone else has been running as well. And the 84, he will not be able to stay in touch with Malarkey. Malarkey is pulling away for that 10th place spot.
Yeah, Barbernier there in the 40 got up into the outside wall, checked up to 84, and looks like Velocity, maybe the tires aren't as, you know, as well as Malarkey's are, as he continues to lose a little bit of time, starting to pull away from Kevin Zappledil, though. And first retirement of the night, Ryan Bean, Sam calls it a night, a handful of laps after having to use his fast repair.
Back and see what happened to this 25 machine, if it was just a tap and similar contact broken over really well, or it looks like it was. He tapped the wall and then Alt F4 out of here. It's not about continuing the race, and for the 25 that looked so strong earlier on, he is out of this thing. Speaking about out of this thing, early pit stops because they don't need stage bonus points. Pit stop for the 2. I don't know why Zach's into pit road. Also going to be Nolan Potter. This is a shocking one. We're 44 laps in. You'd think if you're going to make that pit stop, take tires, fuel, to go with a little bit of strategy of being up front, you'd want to pit as soon as you can to the stage break without pit road closing with 2 to go. Well, it looks like it's going to be just an early pit stop right now.
Is that just left side tires?
Yeah.
Is that left side tires for the both?
It's just left side tire. I am so confused. 2 pit stops.
That's 3 drivers. That's 3 drivers tonight, Sam, and that we've seen just the left. Is there something I don't know about?
This one makes more sense because you would want to keep your left side tires, right? I mean, your right sides for later in the run. You want to, if you're going to be taking the strategy of you're taking 2 tires after the stage is over, taking right sides at the stage makes a lot more sense to keep good pace with the pack. I like the call, I guess, if you're trying to get back on the lead lap and you know you're going to be taking 2 tires at the stage. Take your left sides early on. You'll take the right sides once the stage break yellow comes out. The only thing you're banking on now is that this race does not have a caution, because for this 2 machine and for the 34, they've gambled that they need to be back on the lead lap before the stage is over the next 10 laps.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to be able to do here on these fresh left side tires. And I gotta say, the nice thing, Sam, about being in the booth is we get to see what drivers do and you can learn from it. As somebody who has to race here tomorrow, I might be taking some notes here if this works out well for these guys, that maybe left side tires is the play. We're gonna have to wait and find out, but this is definitely a first for myself, seeing drivers elect to take lefts over rights.
And another driver making a second pit stop of this green flag run, it's Gregory Barbernier, who looks like he's in a demolition derby machine. The 40 looks like it has gone through a couple of beats and bangs as he's able to take off and go. But he took 4 tires for Barbernier. He's going to be 2 laps down, trying to stay maybe 1 lap down. I'm shaking my head confused. This is one of the more calls where, as a commentator, I've never seen this scenario happen before, but hey, this is the fun of the Challenger Racing League with the 50% fuel load, and the fact that the fuel load can range anywhere from 40% to 70%. People can make decisions really quickly of, you know what, maybe I want to make this pit stop now and take tires, not take tires. Also, because they only have 3 extra sets of pit road, the strategies are so much more bizarre than what the traditional leagues we call.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it, a lot more entertaining for us, as you see Andrew Little go by the 29 there, Stratter Little on that same left side tire call as he gets by the 29 there. And, Sam, I think for Kevin Zappledil going back on the weird pit strategy, he's gone 28 laps. I think he's probably only got 2 or 3 laps left in the tank that he can go. That would put him around 31-ish laps, 32 laps, and we've still got 6 laps, 7 laps to go here in the stage.
Yeah, the fuel run we've seen is from 29 to 32 laps these drivers can go. If you're going 32 laps, you are really trying to save your fuel if possible, but that's losing so much more ground. Zappledil has not been in fuel-saving runs that I've seen. So yeah, the 17 is expected to hit pit road. And for the likes of the number 2 and 34, like I said, they pitted earlier, maybe going for that gamble strategy, as Watkins is into pit road now.
It just gets crazier and crazier. I don't know.
What is happening?
I don't know. I'm right there with you. We'll see what the 3 elects to do here. As he's down pit road, is it going to be left side tires? Is it going to be right side tires? It appears to be the right side goes up on the car for Watkins, and we'll see if they come around and put left sides on it. And it looks like, yeah, 4 tires, for Watkins.
And he's now going to try to run down Andrew Little, as he will go a lap down. But he's got to run down and catch Little within the next 4 laps. This is going to be a fun watch of the rundown, because the difference in speed is going to be about 1.2 seconds. But Andrew Little, is he going to be able to make the pass? The speed's going to be there on the advantage of Watkins, and Watkins should stay on the lead lap, taking off here. With the amount of laps are left in this stage, and Trevor, I mean, you're taking the advantage of tires. You're just going to top off on fuel, but this puts you in a weird spot once we go green of having older tires compared to the rest of the field.
Yeah, now it's the balance, right? You have to be quick enough to unlap yourself and stay on the lead lap, but at the same time, not just tear up these tires that you just put on the race car. You can see them all over the rear bumper of the 68 of Andrew Little, and this should be an easy pass for him out of turn number 2. But now for Harold, I mean, it's that balance of saving tire. That way, when you do restart, Sam, that these tires aren't just absolutely shot and everybody drives by you once we go back green from the stage break.
And again, it's all 5 drivers that joined in this league, that being Watkins, Nolan Potter, as well as Zach in number 2. Also seeing the likes of some of the other guys of Ryan Bean. Those drivers all came as a team. They said they didn't want to influence the points and the playoff run that's going on for some of those drivers. So it could be just a simple, hey, we're going to pit. We're going to take an all-out strategy. We're just going to get out of the way and let you guys race this thing out so that all the playoff drivers get bonus points if they're close to the top 10.
That could be the thing, Sam.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm just at a loss, but hey, it makes it exciting for us and for the viewers back home. I've been watching Kevin Zabladil in the 17. They closed pit road. So, I mean, he's stuck to this strategy, but he is clutching and coasting through the corners. And if he makes it to lap 55 and back around to pit road, I'm going to be amazed.
He's not.
Damn, he's gone 33 laps here, and that would be impressive.
Well, we've seen it before where Kevin and others that try to go with these fuel-saving runs, when they know they can't get around again, they go automatically, caution comes out, they cross the line, they go immediately to pit road. They'll take that EOL penalty of pitting early on a closed pit box, pit road. But at least if the 17 can make it to this number that we're looking at, as this is it, stage yellow should be coming out. We're finding ourselves in a position where Kevin Zabladil, he has to pit now. The caution was not thrown, and he's gonna run out of fuel.
Yeah, I think there's the caution because Potter crossed the line in 10th. And I don't know if he's got
out of fuel
left.
He's already made the announcement over the radio. He needs a push. Zabladil needs a push, and he will not make it to the end unless he somehow is clutching enough to have just enough fuel to get enough energy, momentum to get around this track, but has already made the announcement, I need a push.
You saw it there when he got on, when he let the clutch out, it revved up to about 4,500 RPM and kind of sputtered. He is definitely out of fuel. I give him credit. 35 laps on a tank of fuel, pretty impressive, but again, Sam, just a very interesting strategy call and didn't even get the stage points from it.
Nope. I will be confused and puzzled by this race for a long time, but you know what's going to help us out though? As Zabladil is getting his help in the pit road, we're going to get some helping hands of going to a commercial break, maybe wrap our brain around these scenarios and figure out where drivers need to be to take off and go. As Zabladil is going to be pushed to continue going. Well, more confusion. We'll find out more when we come back after this for more Challenger Racing League. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The silly season grows more as we're confused on some of the strategy calls, who's coming to pit road for how many tires, because all semblance of regularity is thrown out the window tonight. I don't know if it's because Halloween's in a few days, maybe there's a full moon somewhere, but it has been a wild first stage to this race. Is Christian Stratter going to be up front? Feeling confident, feeling comfortable, and wants to continue on with the speed as we are back to green flag racing. Stratter Campbell going to be your front two as we are back here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Trevor Earhart. Trevor, it has been some chaotic racing up front, but it's Strouder and others that are trying to follow in company.
Yeah, we'll see how this next the second stint of this race is going to go after the kind of the craziness we saw in the first half of it. Sam and Strider going to try to do what he did in the first half, get into the lead and pull away with it. As he's now got Nate Campbell for company behind him. Matt Hayden's going to be in third as the restart underway and everybody kind of trying to cycle through and get their positions sorted out. Here's in the pit strategy. I still don't think we know exactly what tires everybody's on. We think most of the field's on 4 fresh tires. We know one driver did pit just to top off, and that was the 3 machine of Watkins, who took 4 tires right before the stage, Sam. So this will be interesting.
My hands are in the air, and we'll see how this race goes. That's where I'm at this moment as Strider continues to lead up front. A lot of the madness, though, is happening from that 4th place on back. Seeing Matt Hayden, seeing the likes of Justin Malarkey, as well as Hunter Carlson, Rusty Modesty, showing their hands that they want to be up front and racing for this thing. And looking at how this field's going to be taking on the rest of this race, there's a few drivers to note that need to be up front. As Zabladil, big slide for the 17. He'll go down to the apron, but keep it off any of the walls. But John Velocity in that 84 going to be the main driver of note in Hunter Carlson. How do they react moving forward as Modesty giving a little bit of a tap to that outside wall?
Yeah, they're going to have to do some work here, Sam. I think this is the most aggressive we've seen John Velocity at any point really during a race. He kind of just tends to run his own race and kind of takes whatever he gives him. But right now, being aggressive, trying to move up to 4th position with an 84 machine. He got by Malarkey there, who's under pressure from the 3 machine of Harold Watkins.
I mean, the season and some of the fields for these races have been kind of small, but the only driver that's been consistently inside of the top 10 has been John Velocity. Every race he has finished inside of the top 10, wanting to continue on that streak as the 84 holds up front, but holding on behind, going to be Hunter Carlson with a big slide for that 32 machine. He keeps it off that pit wall, and this aggression, I mean, it is ramped up, Trevor, a lot more than I was expecting from our first stage to now. I think everyone maybe in the sense that these next couple of laps, this next run, could be the last one these drivers are thinking about for tires, so why not use them all early?
It very well could be. I mean, if it's like the first stage, and kind of like what we've seen throughout the season, where it tends to kind of go green for the whole race, apart from the stage break. If that's going to be the case, why not be aggressive, try to get that track position, and then maybe pit a little bit early to see how it plays out for you, Sam. And right now, we're seeing just that, drivers being aggressive. As right now, you see there Catrone trying to pinch down the 2 machine on exit of turn number 2.
Seeing all the drivers on top of one another in this cluster is giving us a great show, and why not get to hear it at its full song as we're going to be heading to a Crank It Up segment for these drivers and get a sense of what it's like as they drip through these walls and get prepared for their next pit stop in the next 20 laps. back, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed that Crank It Up segment here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We are giving you the coverage here this Tuesday night of the Challenger Racing League. It's season 1 in their inaugural season, and it is the round of 8, excuse me, in the playoffs. Our second race in this round, as we just had Las Vegas last week where Nick Campbell was in victory lane, and here tonight at Homestead. Next week will be going to be this round's finale at Martinsville. So we'll figure out our 4 drivers that will race for a championship in Phoenix in 2 weeks. At this current moment, it has been a very silly night, a wild one all around, and why not get a little bit of sillier? We haven't done this at all this season. Just thought because how crazy it's been on track with different strategies. We'll throw it over to Trevor. Trevor, what is some odd factoids that maybe you figured out about today?
Yeah, just some odd things on today, the 29th of October. 1968, the first electronic message was sent over the internet. 2003, LeBron James. This is the crazy one, Sam. LeBron James played his first NBA basketball game on this day in 2003. Your NASCAR trivia for the day. In 1950, Bill Ruxford finished 26th in the season finale at Hillsborough to win the NASCAR Grand National Series Championship.
Okay, some little fun factoids that you can hold for yourself and maybe share throughout this evening or tomorrow with the fact of how crazy this race has been tonight, and some fun little nuggets. That LeBron James one is still crazy to me, the fact that it was 2003, one of the best classes in basketball. But for racing action on track, we've been seeing some pretty good racing action in the middle of the field, but up front, it's been the duel back and forth. Christian Strader, Nate Campbell, they've been on top of one another, and it looks like Trevor, Nate Campbell, started all the way back in 16th place. He's our biggest mover of the night. Finally seen strength to take that lead position and put Strader back in his place and not allow the 29 to win for another time this season.
Yeah, it's got to be a little bit of heartbreak for Strader. Just been so fast, just hasn't caught the brakes, Sam. And again here tonight, it just looks like he's got a fast race car. Just looks like the guys around him a little bit quicker. And not too far behind him is Harold Watkins in the 3. And he's the driver that came down pit road, took 4 tires before the stage, came back down and topped off, and even on those a little bit older tires, Sam, here he is up in 3rd, running down our 2 leaders.
It is very impressive to see with those older tires, and that could be some good knowledge moving forward of how do you keep your tires in a good place to work with moving forward. We lost Ryan Bean earlier in this race after just clobbering the wall twice. Looks like we have lost our second driver of the evening. That's going to be Jesse Nowlin that has pulled it off, has left the server, so we're down to just 18 drivers on track at this current time. In the battle for the lead, it is your top 3, and these are 3 drivers that gave us a show last week at Las Vegas. They want to do it once again, as we are 10 laps away from our green flag pit stops, and these pit stop could be critical because some drivers have already used 2 sets of tires. I mean, Trevor, some of these drivers only have 1 set left, or they have 1 side of a set left.
Yeah, they're going to have to make 2 pit stops?
Yeah.
Is my math right? Yeah, my math is right. They're going to have to pit twice here in this final segment of the race, and with only having potentially 1 full set left or a side of a set left, it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out tonight, Sam. And I'm really kind of curious with the craziness we saw in the first stage. What craziness are we going to see here in the last half of the race?
Here are the scenario for some drivers. Some drivers have legitimately just 1 set of tires left for the rest of this race, and their next pit stop around lap 85 to 80-ish is going to be the true time that they go into pit road. Actually around 89 to 90 could be their final pit stop of using a set of tires. Some drivers have a full set and then a half a set left. That's either on the left side or the right side. There are very few, there's only a few of them out there that have 2 sets of tires left. So those drivers, I think, going to be the optimal position for the rest of this race, because having that extra set is going to be very impactful for the rest of this race. Just have that extra grip to work with, but that loss of time, and can you run down the other drivers ahead of you, is going to be the question of note as we continue on. This is that window of how do you take this thing to the very end, and can you, as more bizarre moments, pit stop for the number 2 of going to be our second place from qualifying. Zach, is taking a pit stop for the 2 machine very early compared to the rest of the field.
Yeah, it made it 21 laps on his fuel run. take it from here. I mean, he makes it to, as long as they can make it to about lap 102, 103 for your final pit stop. I mean, it's kind of the window you want to hit. So he should be good, Sam. But I think, again, why not just run the fuel tank out and make your final, make your pit stop when you run out of fuel? Just another kind of interesting pit strategy call from some of the drivers.
What makes it even more interesting is the fact that he just took his final full set of tires. He only has a half a set left for this 2 machine. And we'll see how that's going to change up for the rest of this race. As more drivers hit pit road, that's going to be Hunter Carlson into pit road for himself. And maybe it's a standpoint if they want to split this run in half, where they feel like, hey, we can pit now, our final pit stop will be in the next 25 laps or so. That could be the mindset that's going on, as it's Maurice going to be in pit road, as well as Carlson getting service done. You see both the left sides and right sides will be lifted up on their vehicles as more drivers entering pit road. And yeah, it's just an earlier stop than I was expecting to see. Thought they would maybe try to push it a little bit further, especially with the lingering of what if a caution flag comes out. But it looks like that worry is not there for those that are taking the early gamble of the undercut.
Yep, not worried about there being a caution, and just gonna, this is the pace strategy they had in mind, and they're gonna stick to it. And it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. 4 tires, no tires, 2 tires now versus what you take at the end of the race. And Sam, I think it's the Halloween effect. With Halloween being on Thursday, I think it's kind of rolling over early into Tuesday, and we're just seeing some kind of just craziness here tonight at Homestead.
It's got to be. There's got to be a spell, something, and guess what? Where it's not over with penalties, as James Fitzmaurice, black flag for the 33 machine, speeding. I'm not sure if he was speeding or an unsafe pit exit, but the 33 has a black flag. Yes, go into pit road and get service done once again. You hate to see that, and continuing the trend of every race, there's been some type of pit road mistake penalty-wise that's given out.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate incident there, and it kind of ruins your night when, especially this late into the race, with it looking like it's going to go green. Really kind of takes your chances away of getting back into it, unless he does get that caution, Sam. But a tough break for the 33 Fitzmaurice.
As the drivers that are rocking the pink for breast cancer awareness, both going to be coming into pit road for Rusty Modesty and John Velocity. They were instead of the top 10. Here's James Catrone in the 38 machine, as well as Andrew Little ahead of him. Catrone, if you looked at the first 5 laps this season, was one of the hotter drivers with Hunter Carlson on just raw speed and being up front consistently, with as well Andrew Little, Christian Strouder. That was your top 5 drivers to watch out for the first 5 races. I feel like for Catrone, he's kind of disappeared these last few races. Maybe that's just me, and it feels like we haven't really been seeing Catrone be that top driver up front, challenging our leaders lap in, lap out. But tonight, kind of being an under-the-radar driver, back in 5th place currently, with being in the middle of this green flag pit cycle.
Yeah, you think back to last week in Vegas, and it was I believe a top 10 for him there, and then here tonight he's just kind of been lurking just inside the top 10 as well. Hasn't shown the speed that he had early on in the season, Sam. And as well, we flip back here to the 5 of Matt Hayden, who was our pole sitter, fell back and just really hasn't recovered for the 5 of Hayden, Sam, and kind of wondering again where his speed has gone. We've seen him be fast on long runs, but tonight just does not look like he has that long run speed that we've seen from him in the past.
Another driver calling it a night. Talked about the penalty for the 33. Well, he will call it an evening. James Fitzmaurice is done. 3rd driver of the night to call it an evening. So now we're left with just 17 out on track. As talked about the numbers, 4 of our top 4 still need to enter pit road. Nick Campbell, Andrew Little, James Catrone, and Steve Potter still need to make their stops. Also, further on back, Steven Rochak, who's currently 1 lap down, still needed to hit pit road as well for himself. As this field starting to close in, you're starting to see drivers that are up front, those that have already pitted, having their close moments with fresh tires. Got to be careful with that closing rate that we have here this evening.
Yeah, we haven't seen it a lot here tonight, especially that first round of pit stops where drivers just took basically fuel only. But now you're going to have a mix of drivers on fuel only, fresh tires, 2 tires, and this could be where we see some issues, Sam, with that closing rate of the difference in tire and grip. We could see some drivers get into some issues, but so far everybody's been able to navigate fairly well. And we'll see if that can continue through the rest of this green flag pit cycle.
Steve Bonner now going to be entering pit road. Nate Campbell, Andrew Little, James Catrone still out on track, and a surprising number for at least their top three, because they've been out there on track starting the 32nd lap that they've been out there on course. And with the timing of us having our stage caution come out, trying to pit at the right time for fuel, it's enabled them to maybe save a little bit more extra compared to everyone else, as Nate Campbell's going to be entering pit road for himself. Andrew Little, is he going to enter pit road? Little is going to stretch it out for another lap. Little is going to complete 33 laps on a stint.
I mean, we saw Kevin Zappolito try to do it. He made it, technically, he made it 35. I think under power, he only made it about 33. So we'll see Little, Catrone, Campbell all out there still on this run. They've made it about 33 laps. We'll see when they elect to come down pit road. And this will give us a good idea, Sam, of when that final pit stop will have to happen. As it looks like Campbell's down pit road. I think Little brought it down pit road as well. Actually, no, Little's going to stay out for another lap.
Catrone does go into pit road. Andrew Little stretching it out as far as you possibly can make a vehicle go. And this 68 is shocking us as we hop on board. Andrew Little over the radio with a little bit of glee behind it, saying pitting in. And Little's got to be careful here. He has to make sure that he enters pit road cleanly and that he doesn't make a mistake of accidentally overshooting. As Andrew Little slowing down, gets on the apron and cleanly will make the stop in. And that was an impressive stint to go almost 35 laps in total on a green flag run.
That was a pretty good run there from Little, and I watched it. That last lap and a half was not clutching, so I mean that was 34 laps, Sam, of just running hard, able to make it, and that could be big for him late into this race if he can go that long on fuel. Might have a short pit stop for himself on that last pit stop. We're just gonna have to wait and see.
Speaking of short pit stops, I don't know if Andrew Little can make it from here to there. Everyone's still gonna have to pit at least one more time. So it's a waiting game. Currently, though, it's the 3 machine that's going to be up front, having a great run for himself. And the B-Dubs machine as going to be Watkins leading the charge. Strouder in second. Third is John Velocity. But for us, we will step away, take one of our potentially final commercial breaks of the evening. It's been a wild race so far. 3 have exited, but the 3 machine leads the way. We will be back with more Challenger Racing League action, and a bizarre night will get even more crazier. We'll find out after this as we come back to this commercial break. 5 wide behind her pit.
Oh my, the 5 wide here, this ain't gonna work. They make it last, bumping and banging to the end. They're beating banging for the lead. Sora still with the shot here, coming off a 4. That's it.
It's
Bottom line, here it comes. Oh no,
no,
Carter gets wrecked. It's gonna be that Nick Crumford. The 74 gets through somehow, and they just completely demolish one another. Trinity driving down low, drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes, Cedric Hunter. He does it. He steals it.
But he somehow drove it into the corner to wreck
Oh,
him.
they wrecked! They wrecked each other! The top 2 bounced into one another. Just too much of side drifting off of, and they gotta be careful. Oh no! The 4 demolishes in the 28. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, in the final push of the Challenger Racing League for the second of 3 races in the round of 8. Tonight, it has been wild, wacky, and absolutely bizarre unknowns happening this evening, and it's about to get even crazier. The final 29 laps of this race is going to come down to who had the better strategy on tires, their pit stall, who's willing to gamble, and it all starts right now, as this is going to be the funnest part of the race so far, and I'm excited for it. Giving you the call, my name is Sam Dyer. I've got Trevor Earhart with me, excuse me, Trevor. I also have Rob Moore, your Junior Ryan Productions in the background, but Trevor, this is it. A lot of unknowns. Few drivers have made their final pit stop of the night, but our top 11 are in a weird spot of when do you make the final pit stop, and do they have tires?
Yeah, it's going to be the interesting question. John Velasquez looks like he's going to be one of the first ones in our top 5 to make his final pit stop. And Sam, you thought you were all done with gambling last week when we were in Vegas, but drivers really gambling on the pit strategy here tonight. We're going to see how it plays out here in this last 25 laps or so of this race. Is Strader really hounding Harold Watkins here for the lead as they get ready to make their final pit stops.
as these two drivers have been putting on a show back and forth. Stratter still looking for that first win this season, has been here since race number 1. Watkins showed up for this first race last week at Las Vegas and came up shy. Both hoping to get their first win this season, and it's going to be Stratter who aims first into pit road, as these drivers could have gone for another, at least for Stratter, another about 9 more laps, but you want to have time to run down the rest of the field.
Yeah, if you're taking tires, you want to give yourself plenty of time to run these guys back down who have to take fuel only, or maybe just left or right side tires. So we'll see what the pit strategy here for Christian's going to be. If it's going to be 4 tires, I think he's one of the few drivers, Sam, that had enough sets to take 4. I see the right side of the car going up on the pit stop. We'll see if they do lefts as well. It looks like, yep, 4 tires for Christian Stratter.
Also following with Stratter was Matt Hayden, Rusty Modesty, that could be, yes, Rusty Modesty and Justin Malarkey, excuse me. With now, you saw on screen of Watkins making his way into pit road. That's going to leave us with about 4 drivers, 4 to 5, that still need to make their stop, being Nate Campbell, as well as Andrew Little, Hunter Carlson, and James Catrone. Now, Catrone and Little went the furthest. And Trevor, that's going to be the oddball thing for both those drivers, is because they're both going to be, at least for Little, 5 laps shy, even if he does another incredible 35-lap run.
Yeah, I mean, they're still going to have to make that final pit stop, but it gives you options on your last pit stop. You can take a lot less fuel than these guys who are having to pit now. You can take maybe just 2 tires and save a lot of time. So we'll see how it plays out for them, Sam, and that's going to be the real question. What's going to happen with Little and Catrone if they decide to run this tank dry like they did on the previous pit stop?
2 strategies lining them up for victory here in the early going. Currently, it's Christian Stratter that is ahead of Harold Watkins by 1.1 seconds. We are closing in here closely to 20 laps to go. This is your money stop, the final stop that you're going to have here this evening. And we've already lost 3 drivers after getting into the wall, and we'll see how they were going to be recovering for some. As up front, still our top 3, Nate Campbell, Andrew Little, James Catrone, waiting for their time to go into pit road. Hunter Carlson could not go any farther. He just came into pit road to get service done. And here we go, Trevor, this is it. When is the top 3 make this stop? Because, like you said, the window is open for so many opportunities. Is it more of a waiting game, though, of trying to make sure the other drivers have used up their tires enough that you have that advantage? Or is there something else that maybe our top 3 are waiting for?
Well, you know, I was just thinking about that. If you wait too long, I think you might give up too much time with the fresh tires. I know Stratter's on 4, Watkins is on 4, and apart from, I mean, if you stay out too long, if you're Andrew Little, James Catrone, you risk not running them back down. And we've seen that in the past where, especially for Catrone, he's made these late pit stops and not been able to rebound and get back up to where he was. So we'll see how it plays out, but maybe, Sam, they save enough time with not having to take as much fuel. We're just going to have to wait and see how this is all going to play out.
Yeah, and running out of time was something that we actually saw last night. If you're watching us here on Frequent Pass Broadcasting and all the different leagues that we give you coverage from Monday through Thursday, we have ISRC on Monday night. As last night, it was Larry Yingling, Vincent Sora. If Vincent Sora had an extra 2 more laps, he was going to pass the 67 and make the pass for the lead, but ran out of time. That is a question now for these drivers here tonight in the Challenger Racing League. They're in a different vehicle, different track, but similar situation of you need to give yourself enough time to run down the leader or who is looking to be the leader at the end of this race. And I'm looking at the numbers right now. Trevor, I'm being shocked. Christian Stratter is really using up these tires. That gap initially was just 1 second over Watkins. It is almost ballooned out to 2 seconds between the 29 and the 3 that are leading those that have already pitted.
Yeah, you know, I'm not surprised by that. I mean, Stratter's been aggressive from the start of the race, but you would think on this you know, last set of tires it'd be a little bit easier on him, Sam. Maybe feeling like he knows that he has to be aggressive to try to pull a gap to the guys that might late pit this thing to make sure he's got enough of a gap to them. So could be a double-edged sword for Christian. Might take a little bit too much life out of these tires to be able to hold on to the win here tonight.
As Nate Campbell enters into pit road, gets his service done. We're left with 2 drivers up front. It's Andrew Little, it's James Catrone, both that stayed out the longest during our most recent green flag pit stops for the both of them. That was over 23 laps ago for Andrew Little, 24 laps ago for Catrone. Little did go an extra lap further than the 38. So Catrone is going to be forced to pit sooner unless somehow the 38 found a way to save fuel over the rest of the field. But looking at the time, I am shocked to say this. Nate Campbell coming out 5th place with fresher tires. I mean, this 48.5 with the amount of time that's left, I mean, he's still in good distance to run down Watkins and Stratter to be the leader of those with fresher rubber.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Again, that little bit shorter of a pit stop on fuel could play into his hands. Sam will see how far he cycles out. I think about 5 seconds behind Watkins, maybe 5.5 by the time he gets up to speed. So a tough task for him to run him back down, but definitely possible with the amount of laps that we have left.
Most definitely. Andrew Little, James Catrone, again, still out there on track. You're seeing John Velocity driving by, trying to make sure that he's on the lead lap. And with that pass over this 68 machine, will do so. And John Velocity, in the 84 machine, he has been having a fabulous run. And if he continues on at this pace and rate, looks like the top 5 could be calling for Velocity, which are big points to have. Again, his driver of aiming is James Catrone and Hunter Carlson, the main 2. That Velocity's looking over to make sure that he can be that 4th driver to make the playoffs, as Andrew Little just watching his competition unlap themselves and just giving up time after time. And over the radio, James Catrone, I think he's making the call. Pit road is calling for himself.
Yeah, coming down pit road this time by for the 38 machine. We'll see if he can get it woed down and what the strategy call is going to be for the 38. And now it's going to leave Andrew Little, Sam, the last car out there, and he can technically go another 7 laps if he wants to. We'll see if he elects to do so. But Catrone working his way down pit road, and I'll give you an update on what he does for tires here.
And where will Catrone lie with the other competition of drivers? Will he be near Nate Campbell, or will he even be in front of John Velocity? That's going to be a big thing for the 38 machine, as Andrew Little is still out there on track. As we go back to James Catrone, what are you seeing so far, Trevor, for that 38's pit stop?
Right side tires only for James Catrone. On and off pit road he goes, and we'll see where he's going to cycle out. But with it being a little bit less fuel and just right side tires only, this could really help the 38.
Staying out 4 laps later than Nate Campbell has pushed this 38 machine. Could have been near our top 5, top 6 drivers. He's now fallen all the way to 12th place. Catrone, something is just not feeling right. Maybe it was the pit entry, maybe it was the exit being slow, but something did not look right for that 38, even with just taking 2 tires there and cutting down the distance by 5 seconds.
That's a lot of spots lost there. It looked like a good pit road entry. He looked a little slow getting into his box, Sam. Maybe that's where he lost some time for himself, but definitely a slow pit stop for the 38. And now we'll see when Andrew Little elects to make his pit stop and what he's going to elect to do and where that's going to pull the 68 out into the field at.
Andrew Little place himself. Also, I'm curious if you can take a look for Justin Malarkey. He also had a very short stop, only 7.6 seconds in pit road for the 73 in Malarkey. And I'm curious if maybe he went with a strategy call of potentially not taking tires, or if he went with 2 tires. But it was a very short stop for Malarkey that has placed them battling back and forth for 8th position with Kevin Z. As Andrew Little, about to be 10 laps to go, a little bit of trouble for drivers further on back, as there was almost some contact made for Hunter Carlson in the 32. A big wiggle down to the apron for himself.
I saw that in the back of the shot there. Almost took out whoever that was coming off the pit road. I'm sure that was a bit of a heart skipping a beat moment there for those 2 drivers, but Carlson gathers it back up. Andrew Little down pit road, Sam the final driver to make their final pit stop, and we'll see if the 68 is going to elect to do 2 tires. As it slipped through his box, another mistake from the drivers electing to go long. Sam on this final pit stop, Little slides through his box, 2 tires. It looks like going to be the call for himself as he's down and away.
Down and away, and now it's the run down to the finish. 10 laps to go. Everyone has finished their money stop, and it's between the veteran of this series, the regular for season 1 of Christian Stratter, and the newcomer of Harold Watkins in the 3. The gap has shrunk. At one moment, it was up to 1.8 seconds. It's now down to 1.3 over the past 5 laps. Watkins has cut the distance, but does the 3 have enough time to run down Stratter? And does Stratter have the momentum to kind of be a shining star here tonight? Because like we heard last week, these new guys don't want to be an influence to the end of this race, but they are right there. They could be an influence, or will they back off and just allow Stratter to take this win to this evening?
I mean, it's so difficult as a driver, knowing that you just joined the league and you don't want to, you know, be an influence, but at the same time you have a chance to win the race. You kind of got to play your cards right. We'll see if Watkins can run down the 29 machine, and if he can, how that battle for the lead is going to be. And if they get to battling too hard, Nate Campbell not too far behind Sam, and he's on about 7 lap fresher tires than Stratter and Watkins. So these guys get to battle, and it could pull him in, but the laps are dwindling down, and for Campbell, he really needs those guys to be fighting a whole lot sooner than I think they probably will be.
Yeah, I'm looking at Nate Campbell's lap times. He needs a lot of help. He really does need these leaders to start fighting against one another, and having Nolan Potter in the 34 ahead of Stratter. Curious if Nolan's going to just pull this side, let our leader go. It looks like he'll stay low, but Stratter does get into the wall, and Potter is still there. They are not giving up on just leaving this spot away. Nolan Potter fighting to stay on the lead lap. It's valid to do, but it's frustrating as a leader because that gap is shrunk by 2/10 coming out of turn number 4 with 6 laps to go. Finally, Stratter gets by Nolan, but the damage has been seen. It's almost down to a second as Watkins crosses the line.
Yeah, Watkins trying to close the gap, and that's not what Stratter wanted to have happen. Get caught up behind the lap car and got clear of him now, so we'll see if the same thing happens to Watkins. Does Potter stay up in the way, or does Potter move out of the way for the 3 machine? We'll wait and see. But for Stratter, just got to run some clean laps. He was saying we continue to pull away. It's now back up to 1.1 seconds as they exit turn number 4.
Also, other great battles they're having on track is going to be between John Velocity and Matt Hayden for 4th place. So they're within just a half a second with 5 laps to go. See the 5 machine running low as the 84 is ripping the wall. Also, Hunter Carlson trying to stay ahead of Justin Malarkey, which Malarkey continues to fall down. I think Malarkey might have been making on a caution to come out to utilize those extra set of tires he has in pit road. The caution never happened, and it's now just the race to the end. Christian Stratter trying to get that monkey off his back as he's got 4 more laps to go. It's a lap car in 2nd place in his mirror.
Yeah, and doing a good job just running clean lap times. Was about a 10th slower than Watkins that last lap, but the gap pretty steady at about 1.2, growing a little bit as I think Watkins starting to struggle now in the dirty air of Nolan Potter in the 34, and it's exactly what Stratter wants to see. He's got clean air in front of him. The car behind him has the dirty air, and he can kind of pull away slowly, Sam. But Watkins now trying to get that pass done to try to run back down Stratter.
Able to make the pass be completed, but it's still 3 laps to go. Can Watkins in the 3 machine find a little bit of extra speed here in the final few laps? It's just a 1 lap advantage that he's had over the 29. But Stratter built out the lead, built it out to a point where Watkins had to use every little bit of rubber that he was saving to catch up within a second. But it has been hovering at this second marker for quite a while. It has been all Christian Stratter, and now he's got 2 more laps to go for Christian here this evening to finally say he's a winner in the Challenger Racing League.
Got to run 2 clean laps, a little bit of lap traffic out in front, about 1.2 seconds to gap to Harold behind him, Sam, and just got to run your line, not get too throttle happy on corner exit, get the car upset or anything like that, and should find himself winning his first race here in the Challenger Racing League as he works his way through turn 3, catching up to the 17 of Kevin Zablador.
I mean, Christian Stratter has done everything in this league except for win. He's been tied with the Pole Sitter Award. He grabbed the pulse almost felt like every single time at the beginning half of the season. But with the white flag in the air, this race is official. Trying to get by the driver that he's tied with in that pole award with 4 and hoping to add another statistic to his name. It's Christian Stratter at 2 with just a half a lap to go.
Half a lap to go, 1.5 seconds to gap back to the 3 machine, and it looks like Stratter's finally going to get the monkey off his back, Sam, as he works his way through 3 and 4, clean air in front of him.
The debut of the fast drivers spoiled Las Vegas for Christian Stratter, but tonight he proved that he's the dominant one for the championship. His first win for the first season. Christian Stratter wins at Homestead.
It feels like that is a long time coming, Sam. Hearing you say Christian Stratter gets the win and gets it done here tonight. Finally, the monkey off is back, and I'm sure he's going to be very happy when we get to talking to him here in just a little bit.
I am quite confused on what happened to Nate Campbell. I don't think Campbell finished the race, and he sped going into pit road, grabbed a black flag, and Campbell has given up all the positions and went from potentially finishing third to now all the way back to 14th.
Did he run out of gas?
No, he just pulled directly into pit road speeding.
Huh.
He just gave up the positions. I mean, it's like they said, they didn't want to even be involved. Why not just give up spots? And why not make it more of a bizarre night?
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh man, well, we're close to Halloween, just in a few days, and why not have the Halloween machine take the win? Christian Stratter, his first win of the season in that races machine. He's going to enjoy this one as he gets to take the Polish lap. Congratulations, 12 races, and it finally is the 29 in victory lane. For us up in the booth, we will step away. When we come back, we'll talk to the 29, the 3 machine, and who knows, we'll throw our hands up in the air. Who took third? Is it Little? Is it Campbell? We'll find out with our post-race show right after this. Is it spooky ghouls or is it just a wild one? What a thriller this evening at Homestead for the Challenger Racing League. The round of 8, race number 2 of 3, and finally, after 12 races, we can call Christian Stratter a victor. As we head to victory lane, let's see if we can talk to the 29 driver. Christian, it's Sam and Trevor. It took you 12 races. We knew this was going to happen at some point. You are finally a victor in the Challenger Racing League. Man, how are you feeling after that wild night that we just had?
Man, I am thrilled to finally get the monkey off the back, and then also tired. I'm tired. The car was a handful. It's Homestead. Love that racetrack. It's so much fun. So much fun to drive as a driver.
Well, Christian, I mean, this sets you up. We know it's not a win and in the championship 4, but points wise, this sets you up pretty well to make it to Phoenix. Does this kind of change your approach to Martinsville next week, and maybe the preparation for that? Do you switch it over to maybe practicing for Phoenix?
No, I definitely plan to prepare for Martinsville, just kind of as was. My big strategy going into this, even with the new drivers and everything, is you got to look at the guys that you're racing. So I just want to have a clean, consistent day at Martinsville. Plus, you kind of want to ride the momentum. Have a good finish there, and then head into Phoenix, with hopefully 2 good finishes back to back, and be able to capitalize on that.
I mean, Christian, we saw last week with the newcomers showing up and kind of elevating the speed for everyone around. How is it personally for you seeing the speed ratchet up with the likes of Watkins and Campbell and Ryan Bean just being so quick from last week to this week and kind of it looked like it pushed you to be even faster these last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I actually I feel the same. They kind of hopped in and racing against the best is going to bring out the best in you, and those guys are really fast, and you want to stay with them as a competitor. Um, it's tough though because at the same time you kind of have to balance the fact that they aren't my points battle. They're not my race, and they could do a couple things that maybe I would like to do. Um, but you just don't want to put yourself in a position where you spin or speeding on pit road, things like that. So it's tough to balance, but I definitely think that they're bringing out the best in my pace.
Well, he certainly has shown these last couple of weeks. Christian, we know we've been waiting for this moment. Congratulations on finally getting this win. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Just a shout out to Hunter and all my teammates, and then also Rusty and Andrew and James and everybody that helps put this on, and then you guys for broadcasting. It's been a good time, and I've been waiting to get back in here and talk to you guys. I feel like it's been forever.
It really does feel like that. And we're happy to be talking with you. It's always great seeing this 29 up front. And what a scheme to have with Halloween right around the corner. Christian Schrader finally into victory lane. And what a time with just 2 races left. All the momentum is for the 29's way. Congratulations, Christian, on this win. Enjoy it. And good luck next week at Martinsville.
Thank you, guys.
As we will move from victory lane, we'll go down to second place to talk to the 3 machine as we find ourselves with a crazy, wild Halloween-filled night. One of those that made us scratch our head was this 3 machine. We got Harold Watkins with us. Harold, I mean, take us through your race. This was a wild one. You come away second. Thought maybe you had a chance to run down Christian, but it just was not the case. But you certainly made our heads scratch a little bit there during that stage pit stops.
Yeah, I thought stage was at 40, so I didn't take enough fuel. So that was my own boneheaded mistake. I wasn't paying attention. Um, so that's what happened there, which is a real bummer because I feel like I had that stage pretty well wrapped up at that point. But yeah, that one hurt a little bit. But it's okay. I got out of the way and let guys racing for points sort of get some stage points and battle it out. So I'm not too mad about it.
I mean, Harold, we heard last week, from the guys like Nate Campbell and some of the newer guys that came in that y'all's plan was just kind of stay out the way and let them race for it. I mean, how challenging is that, especially when you're in second trying to run down a race win? How do you balance that out between trying to win a race and let the guys who are running for a championship run their own race as well?
Yeah, I mean, we're certainly not going to back off. We're going to race, but we're just not going to pull something aggressive that is going to knock someone out that's running, for a championship. Um, Trust me, no one no one on stealth is ever going to give anyone a race by any means. We all want to win just as bad as the next guy, so we'll just be a little bit smarter on the moves we make in the room that we give people doing that.
Well, Harold, we got 2 more races left before the season is over. Thoughts on these final 2 races as they're both going to be short tracks, Martinsville, Phoenix. Any confidence level for these races, or is it just cross your fingers and hope for the best?
Well, certainly at Martinsville, it's cross your fingers and hope for the best. But I really like short tracks. However, we haven't ran them very often just because, again, leagues don't typically run them. So looking forward to getting back there and seeing what we can do. Generally, when we're racing at Martinsville, I feel like our team is really strong there, and I think we're really strong at Phoenix too. So we'll definitely be in the mix and have some fun with it. I think everyone's looking forward to finally getting back to Martinsville, no matter what the outcome is.
We're excited for it as well. Well, Harold, before we finally let you go, the floor's now yours for any other shout outs.
Thanks to everyone that put this league together. Thanks to you guys up in the booth. Shout out to all of our teammates. Just want to say, I'm thinking about Ryan Bean. His grandpa passed away today, so he's definitely on my thoughts, and glad he could get out and race a little bit and get his mind off it for at least a few minutes. And And thanks to everyone out there watching. It was a fun race.
It certainly was a blast for us to call. Harold, congratulations on second place. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Martinsville.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
You too. As we find ourselves going from second place, we go down to third, and a little bit of an awkward, I would say, third place finish, because it was looking to be in the hands of Nate Campbell, but a late black flag forced him to go to 14. So instead, third place is going to go to Andrew Little, which, Andrew, I mean, what was going through your mind in those final laps, seeing that you were in fourth place, and then you look down, you're in third once the results come out?
So that worked out extremely well because it made passing Matt Hayden in the last corner that much sweeter that it was for a podium.
I mean,
Yeah.
fair
Just to
enough.
be as cruel as I can be, that made it that much sweeter.
I mean, there you go, Andrew. I gotta ask. We saw some interesting pit calls, and take us back to the pit stop before the stage break. You take left side tires on that pit stop. Typically, you see everybody take rights. What was the thought process behind lefts over right side tires?
All right, so let's set the stage here, gentlemen. I'm one of the league admins. I helped set the schedule. I did the announcements that the pit call was going to be, first stage was lap 55. People kept asking me, when is the first stage? I said end of lap 55. When I came down and pit and took left side tires, my thought was, I only have to go to lap 33. This will be fine. And even though I had been telling people the entire race, it's end of lap 55. And so I had just thought that, okay, I'm going to take a set of lefts. I'm going to be a little bit quicker. I'm going to go out, get that, maybe either, get a stage win or, high in the points. And luckily I got the stage win. So that worked out really well for me. So, and then I just took a set of right side tires on the final stop. So, and that worked out pretty well too.
Yeah, we saw so many drivers having that bizarro thought of, well, we thought it was actually this lap, and we thought it was actually that lap. I know for us in the booth, I looked at the schedule and I was like, wow, lap 55, that is so different from what we've seen all season. And obviously, it even tripped yourself up, Andrew. But like I said, you won the stage, a lot of good points. We're heading to Martinsville next week. What is the confidence level going to now 2 short tracks, as we have the cutoff race tomorrow, next week, and then the championship race in 2 weeks?
I'm going to say Martinsville, we do a really good job in this league of being pretty clean. Like, we had 20 cars on track today, and it was really slippery, and we had a lot of guys like even catching themselves on corner exit. So like, we're doing really well, and we don't have a lot of cautions for cause other than the stage break. So I'm really proud of all the guys in the league. However, let's be honest, we all know what Martinsville's like. You typically, if you don't want to be frustrated, you avoid a fixed or NIS or anything like that, because it's just so hard to judge distances and hit your marks constantly. So I'm gonna go for it and say, like, we're gonna have a few cautions for cause next week, and so it could throw anybody out. But if you got that fast repair, you got to at least try to get a decent finish, so that way you can get into the final round.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that we see great racing and we're not seeing Pace Simulator 2024. That's all that I want. But Andrew, a great run for yourself. Able to get by Hayden, able to find yourself in third there late. And before we let you go, the floor's now yours for any other shout outs.
Oh, thanks to all the other admins in the league here, and J-Dub, our race control. He's doing a really good job. Doing his best to make sure that he's rooting against the Yankees, I guess, in the background of the World Series there. And then, thanks to my family. They're asleep upstairs, so I got to be quiet. And, to everybody who watches, appreciate it.
Well, Andrew, it was awesome to watch your performance here tonight. Congratulations again on third, and good luck in whatever chaos we find next week at Martinsville.
All right, man. See you guys next week.
As that will finish up our questions and interviews here this evening, as we get ready to take a look at our unofficial results here this evening. A bizarre night, like you heard, even the admins that helped set up the schedule forgetting on when the stage yellows were. We might touch on that after we take a look at our unofficial results here this evening. finally into victory lane. We thought it would happen in the first 5 races of the season. Didn't happen. Instead, it happens in the playoffs. Christian Strider is into pit road for the 29 machine. Harold Watkins is going to be taking second with Andrew Little in third. Matt Hayden will fall to 4th place. 5th will be John Velocity with James Catrone in 6th position. Rusty Modesty 7th. 8th goes to Zach in the 2. Then Hunter Carlson will take 9th position. And 10th, finishing it all out with the oddball strategy. It's Justin Malarkey who was able to skate away with 10th.
Just a wild night all the way around, Sam. You look down, Kevin Zablodil started us off with the wild night with his early pit stop. He's down there in 11th. Nolan Potter had an up and down night, finishes 12th. Campbell with the late black flag there at the end comes home instead of 3rd, comes home in 14th. And then Jesse Nolan, Ryan Bean, James Fitzmaurice down there 18th, 19th, 20th. All those drivers unable to finish here tonight.
Wild all the way through. But I mean, Trevor, I got to ask you the question before we take a look at our future schedule. Have you ever, I know that drivers always ask what the stage yellow could be when they're stage racing, but I don't think I've ever seen a whole team not realize what the stage yellow, and then also the admins forget. That was the craziest first stage I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it happen. I at least have not been a part of it as a driver, but I mean, hey, sometimes life happens. You get too busy, you don't read the Discord notifications, or you show up late and you don't hear the announcements in the race, or, you know, Sam, sometimes you just plain old forget. Things happen on the racetrack, you forget when it's going to happen, and you get a wild and entertaining first stage like we got here tonight.
And it certainly was entertaining. Again, thank you so much everyone that joined with us. But if you want to see more great racing action, we've got you covered throughout the week. As for us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we are going to be back to 4 races throughout the week. We've got the ISRC Truck Series next Monday night. We're right back here for the end of the round of 8 at Martinsville for the Challenger Racing League. And a brand new season is upon us for the WSSR. It's season 10 for those drivers on Wednesday nights. And then after their week off that we're having currently for this upcoming Thursday, we'll be back next Thursday for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. Those next-gen open setup drivers, they've had some long off weeks, but they're ready to get back to racing action, as that is our upcoming schedule. And as well, we have some other upcoming events that we want to be promoting, and say thank you to everyone that's already been promoting about it. We have ourselves the Upbrook 116. Sadly, it's been happening a lot more often of us losing iRacing members and drivers that we have covered personally. And one of those that was part of old series in the past here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting and current, and also a part of current racing leagues that we've seen, Matt Upbrook, sadly passed away recently. And we're putting on a race, partnering up with some other drivers to put on the Upbrook 116. It's a auto club race for 116 laps. And all proceeds of registering for the race, which is $25, goes directly to the family, as well as they're offering up winning prizes for 1st and 2nd place. But really, it's all about supporting the family, remembering a great driver that for us at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we got to broadcast over and have some memorable moments of his iRacing career. We miss that. We miss Matt Upbrook. We are so saddened for his family, as we again hope to be a part of that race if you can. It's going to be again November 9th on a Saturday. Make sure to check in and see the racing action. If you want to find more details, go check out our posts on Freaky Fast Broadcasting to join the Discord to race the Upbrook 116. But before we call it an evening, Trevor, any final thoughts of tonight or preparing for Martinsville next week?
You know, just gonna catch my breath and kind of unwind after all the wildness that we saw here tonight, and get ready for what I expect to be more craziness next week, Sam, when we get to Martinsville. It is the cutoff race. It's gonna set the championship 4 drivers for Phoenix, and I think we're gonna be in for one heck of a race next week when we get to the short track.
Oh, it is going to be a wild one. Again, do not want to miss it. Next week is Martinsville, the cutoff race, to see who will move on and race for the championship. But for tonight, I want to say once again, congratulations to Christian Strider taking the victory at Homestead for the first time this season, showing that the championship might be in the 29's hands. Who can rip it away? We'll find out in these next couple of weeks. But if you cannot wait for next week's racing event, we will see you next week. But for tonight, thank you so much for watching this Homestead race of the Challenger Racing League here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Trevor Earhart, Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else at the Freaky Fast Broadcasting crew, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the show, remember to like and subscribe to be notified with our next upcoming races. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. It's Martinsville. Madness is upon us. Who will survive? Who will move on to the championship race? You'll find out next week. Otherwise, we will see you Monday night. It's the ISRC Truck Series. 13 drivers made the playoffs, and it all starts at Talladega. Don't want to miss it. That will be our next Freaky Fast broadcast.